You're listening to Impactful Billionaires, the podcast with the UK's top award-winning social entrepreneur, Nayash Kwatitsa. Why not be part of the club transforming lives and join us on Patreon? If you would like to get in touch, email impactfulbillionaires@gmail.com. This is a For the Now media production. Welcome to Impactful Billionaires, the podcast show with award-winning social entrepreneur Nayash Kwatitsa and myself, Ali Monjak. This is the second.
Hello there.
Hello.
I can't believe a week has already passed.
I know.
Since we're doing our last news.
I know. So this is our second news show, and we've got some top stories as well as our own news. And if you'd like to share your stories of impact, please get in touch at impactfulbillionaires@gmail.com. Right, without further ado, we've got the COP28 coming up, haven't we?
Yes. Wow. That's a very interesting topic. I'm just wondering, where is it going to be this year?
It's in Dubai. It's actually in the United Arab Emirates. So from the 30th of November to the 12th of December. So
my goodness me, it's long. Wow.
I know.
It's almost 2 weeks. Yes.
It is. Wow. So there's lots going on, as we know, that there is at every COP that happens yearly. But there was some quite interesting comment actually from Mary Robinson, one of the leading human rights advocates, and she was saying that companies need to be 10 times bolder in their approach to the climate crisis and call for a total phase out of your fossil fuels.
Yes.
It's
not going to be. It looks as if corporates are not really taking it serious. But I think they're almost following the governments as well. Some governments are really not taking this topic quite seriously.
I don't think it's that they're not trying to take it seriously. It's just that I don't think they really know what to do. I mean, there's been a load of recent controversy in terms of electric cars, for example.
I know. And I thought, when I saw that, I thought, well, goodness me, what is the best solution?
Well, the best solution actually is hydrogen. I don't know if you know that, Nyasha, but I did, because I've done a bit of research on it. And hydrogen cars are, a thing of the future, because actually, obviously, electric cars still run, they're recharged on fossil fuels.
Yes.
Quite often
and
they've got
batteries themselves cause a lot of environmental problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Their batteries are made up of cobalt and lithium.
Yes.
Two kind of really sort of
dangerous for the environment anyway.
Yeah, toxic for the environment.
It's
so
really toxic.
They're not really a sustainable mode of transport. I mean, obviously, we had the news this year, didn't we, from Rishi Sunak, that they will still be making petrol cars after 2035.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be the cutoff date. But I suspect that's the reason behind it, and that they've not actually come to the forefront about that, because there is the talk of hydrogen cars, and not a lot of people realize that we've actually got hydrogen buses.
Wow, I've never heard of it. Someone was telling me about nuclear cars, like the submarines. I gather they don't use fuel, they use nuclear power.
Yeah.
But hydrogen, I've never heard of it. And why is it it's not being talked about?
No, it's not being talked about at all. So it's there's a lot of testing going on at the moment, and that BMW, not that I really want to mention brands here, but are one of the cars manufacturers that are actually
looking at it.
Have got a car that they think that they can produce to drive the whole thing forward. So
it will be really interesting to almost miss the electrical and go straight to the hydrogen.
I know.
Yeah. There's been the electrical cars had come out. Before it even went, what I mean, there's been a lot of issues around it. in terms of problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's very.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it. I mean, obviously, you know, they're driving forward global transformation for low emission and a climate resilient world, but we need to be doing more. Let's face it, we do.
Every child deserves a loving family, and that is why I founded Banya Fostering, an independent provider in 1996. In the past 24 years, we have grown to become one of the largest agencies in the UK. We thrive to support carers and empower children, providing opportunities for brighter futures. Have you ever thought about supporting a child that needs it most? So far, we've helped more than 7,000 children in our care. When we are hearing all sort of this headline news, for people, including myself, sometimes say, how can I do, you know what I mean? How can I sort of turn a policy or government not doing something myself personally? What can I do? And sometimes you can get so overwhelmed and say, oh God, the problem is too big. So we do nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
So, but just to keep, you know, I really do think our little, especially in terms about what we buy, and we've got a little bit of power about what we buy and what we do in our little house, even in terms of the environment. You can make an impact, and if we all add up together our little efforts, they can actually become something.
Well, they can. I mean, you're pretty green, aren't you?
Yes, I really try as much as I can.
Yeah.
Yes, but
It is difficult. I mean, you're right. The governments don't always have it right. And, you know, if we're really honest, if you look at the 264 councils or something it is across the UK, they're all doing something different.
Yes.
You know, so they're not all, and it's all about recycling, and that's not necessarily where that needs to be.
Yes.
See what I mean? Because, you know, we need solar energy, we need to be using different powers, don't we, really?
Yes.
So
well, another thing which I noticed in the news this week is the government, I don't know whether who she is, talking about homelessness. Did you see that? And I thought, wow, I was quite shocked about it. They said it's a lifestyle choice for someone to be homeless. And I thought, wow. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
I think it was on Monday.
Yeah, I can kind of shed some light on this because obviously with my background, I used to talk to a lot of homeless people in a bid to put it under the nose of local authorities when I was on TV. So and there's several homeless people that I've spoken to that you could just not rehabilitate them. And they, you know, and you say rehabilitation, but they've become so used to their life, they're actually incredibly frightened of having to pay bills, live in a house, and go back to a normal lifestyle.
It's very similar to my experience of working with children who've been in children's homes or in secure units. They're petrified of being out in the open. They don't know how to navigate, you know, they being just outside to go to to shop and come back. It's institutionalized. So I can imagine if someone has been homeless for quite a long time, it's really, really hard to,
Well, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
readjust.
There's no doubt about it. It's incredibly hard. And you know, I think I've seen the story time and time again, and I've met some lovely people that are homeless, and you know, in a certain way you can kind of see, you know, how it gives them freedom almost. You know, but you know, it's dangerous. It's so dangerous, and it's
especially for women and young kids. And I can't remember the statistics. A lot of young people who are homeless, they come from the care system.
Yeah.
And people have come from mental health institution, people have come from hospitals, and people have come from prisons. So it's almost revolving. They then commit crime, they go back, at least when they're in prison, they're housed.
And they feel safe. And they feel safe, which is, you know, the underlying issue here, really, as far as mental health is concerned, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
You know, so
yeah, no, that's very interesting.
it is.
So meanwhile, we've got tell me a bit more about this Hope Foundation. And
right. Well, I had a lovely conversation with Angus Thomas this morning, who founded the Hope Education Foundation project a few years ago. So he actually rescued about 22 ladies in Dubai who were from Ghana. And so he's now set up the Hope Education Project for education and awareness program for schools and communities in the northeast of Ghana. And it's their mission basically to disrupt the flow of vulnerable girls and boys, men and women trafficked for exploitation. It's a huge problem. There's
a global problem, really a global problem about human trafficking.
Yeah,
it's just terrible.
Yeah, I mean, Angus was actually saying to me as well that, you know, major hotel groups, because it's absolutely, it's a huge problem in Dubai, that, you know, there's specifically females are taken out to Dubai for sexual exploitation. And he said, you know, it's the major hotel groups that must enforce their corporate social responsibility policies. Because they're just turning a blind eye to prostitution, and not, you know, dealing with the situation in hand, which is just incredibly awful.
Yes,
isn't it?
Remember, I spoke to you about when I went to Zanzibar, the Airbnbs and hotels, and I was quite surprised actually, because one of the places I stayed was run by women. And how they were turning this blind eye of prostitution right in front of them is just incredible. And that, you know, they're making a lot of money, and they could do something because that's the young men and women are being exploited in their premises. It's happening in their hotels or Airbnb.
Awful.
Yes,
so awful.
It's just awful thing to happen. So yeah, maybe the hotel industry or the tourism industry, they're the ones who need educating.
Yeah, I think possibly they do.
It's one thing educating the young women and who are vulnerable to it, but I think the industry also needs educating and empowering and having quite clear policies, what is acceptable in the hotel or not.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I think maybe they should, you know, because human trafficking is become a huge problem. Huge problem. It's around the world.
It has become a huge problem.
Yes. I never thought about hotels. I just had an example of it in terms of this Airbnb where I was staying.
Yeah. When you think about it, I suppose it is rife everywhere, isn't it?
Terrible.
You know,
young girls and young men.
But also, well, not but it's quite a good thing, because Angus was saying that they've actually got an exhibition in Soho starting next week. I don't have the timings confirmed, because it's called Project Traffic Exhibition. And they've got, you know, possibly an old, not sure which Home Secretary yet, but I think they've got a Home Secretary opening up the event.
Oh, that's just fantastic.
And
it's in front of the government. And
it's not, you know, the government are trying to put a stop to it. I mean, it's you know, everybody's hands are on board, you know, it's just, it's a very difficult thing, I think, sometimes to uncover, you know. So So yeah, but the more people that are aware. So to find out further details anyway, I would go on to hopeeducationproject.org and have a look out for that if you're in London at all.
Oh,
So
that is really fantastic. I think I'm gonna be in London. If I find out when he's gonna be, I might go.
Yeah, you should definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in London next week.
We'll find out about that. So and so we've got some other news about totally different area this time. It's about school building, Nyasha.
Yes, that really interests me. That's really, it's lovely.
Yeah.
And it's a school in Zimbabwe which is being built, isn't it, Glendale? That's in Harare, outskirts of Harare.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to be one of their speakers on the 9th of December, and also to find out a bit more about what they're doing, how far they've gone with their school.
Yeah.
Schools seem to my specialism. I've just come back from Tanzania and Zanzibar, and I visited so many schools. I can't even remember how many schools I visited. This is going to be quite nice to hear a bit more about what's going on there. And it looks as if it's going to be really bringing the state-of-the-art facilities, and which is some of the schools in Zimbabwe or in Africa, they're very under-resourced. And I'm always really troubled about how these young people are going to compete on the global market when they've hardly got any resources. It's just, tough luck. You're really disadvantaged from birth. But as the world has become global, you really need to think about competing on a global level. But in terms of resources, it's just, you can't compare it. I mean, some of the schools I visited, they don't have any desk.
Wow.
They find a textbook, they sit on the floor. And in northern Tanzania, they sit outside underneath a tree. They don't even have a classroom.
They don't.
So this is something I think I'm very interested to know about, because of my own interest and passion about education and children, and my idea of setting up schools in Southern Africa, building, socially responsible schools with from a social enterprise point of view. It's almost like we're going to have a range of school fees in terms of somebody, sort of like buy one, give one space. In terms of resources and having access to this latest, things like computers. I mean, there's no way you can even, if you don't have a desk, how are you going to have a computer? The conversation doesn't even start, it doesn't even happen.
No, you're absolutely right. So that would be really good, because wasn't your mum a school teacher?
Yeah, my parents were school teachers, both of them. So that's why I think schools. I was born in a school.
Were you?
Yeah, my parents lived in the school quarters. My first years of my life, I was living in a school.
Oh, how fabulous!
So schools are so dear to me. I'm quite at home at school.
Education, though. I mean, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes. They were my home as well as my school and learning. So I soon get drawn. As I said, it doesn't matter where I go, I find myself in a school.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. That's obviously where you feel most at home. There you go.
Yes.
So it should be a really good event, though, the Glendale construction.
Yes, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to that.
So that.
And then on the 18th, we still have got our of December. We still got our online event.
We're having a sort of a Christmas get together for Impactful Billionaires. So we'll have quite a few Impactful Billionaires on the event.
Yes.
I know that Ian Franklin, I think, has confirmed, and
Yes,
Tamsin Napier-Munn has also
yes.
confirmed.
Oh,
I haven't heard back from Michelle yet, but there'll be quite a
yeah.
few other
I
people
think
on there.
she's gonna attend.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So I'll see if I can get Sir John to come on.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would be fun.
He
So
was one of the original who interviewed. So
I know.
you should come and
I
remind us.
do. Yeah, definitely. I do suspect I might have to go and help him out with the tech, though.
With his tech, I remember last time you helped him. Oh,
But,
I think if you go and help him, you will attend.
yes, yeah, no, definitely. So that should be quite good. So we'll just see how many others we can get to come along, but it will be a lovely evening. Everybody's welcome. You know, come armed, come and ask questions, join in the festive fun.
Yes.
And that there's a lot to learn, you know, there really,
Yeah.
really is, and also to be part of the Impactful Billionaires Club, really. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, some other exciting news. Dr. Tony Luck was 73 this week.
I know it was her birthday, and yeah, fantastic. And she's really doing a lot for Africa. She's based in Joburg. She's African American. I think grew up in Washington, but for the last, I think since Mandela freedom, whatever, I think that she's lived in South Africa.
Really?
And she's setting up this Africa Trust. She wants it to be really her legacy, and impacting a lot of women entrepreneurs and women, girl children. And I know she's about to launch a women only, women run the pilot, the whole airline in South Africa.
Oh, yes. I remember.
And yeah, no, she's yeah.
She's quite a force, isn't she, our Tony?
Yes, I did not know she was gonna be. I know she looks a little younger than she is.
She looks amazing. She really does. But I think, you know, it's because she's got such a kind spirit.
Yeah, she has. Yes.
And she is quite a spirit, isn't she?
Yeah, she's quite a spirit.
Yeah, she's lovely. So that will that would be amazing. So and also we've got, looking towards 2024 now, we've got the Social Enterprise Success Conference that
yes, I'm gonna meet up with Corinne this week and see when we can arrange some. Yeah, I think if we do two, the last time we did it, we were doing 4 a year,
right?
And we need to come back to it again because everyone keeps asking about it, to reinstate it again. COVID forced it to go online, actually, and because the first one was here in Guernsey. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. There's lots of people who wants to know about social enterprise. Is an interesting topic.
It is an interesting topic, definitely.
It is.
Yeah, without doubt, and not a lot of people know enough about it as well, I think.
So, so that's one of the reasons of raising awareness of it, and showcasing what the social entrepreneurs are doing around the world.
Yes. No, you're right.
Yeah.
So and also 2024, we've got the launch of the Impactful Billionaires magazine and our first
International Women's Day
event. So and exciting news that we're in partnership with the Great British Expos.
I know, that is fantastic. Yeah, they've been ever so supportive of our work anyway over the years, and I'm just so excited about that.
Yes, definitely. It will be a really good event, and also a bit of a book signing for you, I think.
Yes, I hope my book is coming out. It's now with the editor, so
well, it better be.
It should be edited soon, and chasing conversation with 2 editors now to see whether they are willing to partner with me to have it published.
Oh no, that would be really good. And
Yes.
so I think that kind of rounds up our second week of news, doesn't it?
Yes. Fantastic. There's always news. There's always things going on. And
Definitely. So
yeah, and as I said, we always want to hear other people's impact stories.
we do. So if you would like to share your stories of impact, please get in touch at impactfulbillionaires@gmail.com. So it's bye-bye from me.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Bye-bye from me. And thank you again, Ali, for organizing it and pulling it all together as usual.
No worries at all. So coming up, Nyasha chats to motivational speaker Jess Roper, who's a 2 times English Kickboxing Champion, regularly speaking at schools and traveling across the globe with Price Waterhouse Coopers to speaking events.
Hello and welcome. My next guest is Jess Roper, motivational speaker and 2 times English Kickboxing Champion. She's making an impact in local and national schools by giving motivational speaking, and has also motivated Army cadets at Sandhurst Royal Military Academy, and has done several motivational speaking events with Price Waterhouse across the globe. Jess shares her why and her desire to be on a global platform to empower more people.
You're listening to Impactful Billionaires, the podcast with the UK's top award-winning social entrepreneur, Nyasha Kwatditsa. Why not be part of the club transforming lives and join us on Patreon? If you would like to get in touch, email impactfulbillionaires@gmail.com. This is a For the Now media production.
So anyway, Jess, thank you very much for joining me. I normally start with, what are you focusing on at the moment?
What am I focusing on at the moment? Well,
Yeah.
my big dream is to speak on stages globally, but also to create an impact for those who need it the most.
Wow.
So I'm currently predominantly working in schools, both primary schools and secondary schools around the UK, but I also do some corporate work too around leadership, high performance, and focusing on helping people become the best that they can be to raise future champions, especially with young people.
Yeah, oh, that's fantastic, isn't it? Yeah,
I think it's well, they are the leaders of the future.
Yes.
So when having companies working with the current leaders, it might seem polar opposite to working in, say, a primary school with 5 to 11-year-olds.
Yeah, no.
But it's not. They're the future.
They're the future. So to plant the seed now, it's a good time. I wish we had such a thing when we were at school. We never had such opportunities, isn't it, to have somebody come and inspire us. So I don't know whether you did when you were at school.
I definitely didn't have a kick.
I
definitely didn't have any athletes or sporting. I wasn't sporty at school, actually. I didn't begin until I was 18. We did have a poet. I remember a local poet coming in. And,
nice. Yeah.
And I thought he was a celebrity. And I thought, wow, I know someone famous. I know someone who's written a book. And so that did inspire us if you're in poetry.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Yeah, so you said you've got 3 things at the moment you're focusing: speaking, and then impact. What is the 3rd thing?
The main thing is the speaking. And impact comes through the speaking.
Yes, of course it does.
As a former kickboxing champion, that creates a lot of the content that I speak about. And I guess it's in 2 separate kind of demographics: the young people that I work with and the companies, the current leaders that I work with.
Yes.
the third thing would be my actual kickboxing coaching. I am part of the local community. I am a black belt within the gym. I run a women's only kickboxing class. So all of my background that brings me to where I am today and everything that I am speaking about stems from
that.
and
Oh,
I'm not ever planning on leaving the local community and being close to home as well. So although I'm aiming for global stages, I value local community too.
wow, yes. That's your impact of the local community. And what did you say? Charity begins at home anyway. You've got to sort your home out before going global. Oh, that's really fantastic. So I wasn't aware you're still doing kickboxing. So are you doing competition or you're just coaching?
It's a good question. I have retired from competing.
Okay.
So I am the former 2 times English Kickboxing Champion. I won my belts in 2019. I had a lot of losses to get there. It took a lot of hard work and dedication, but I was never really naturally a fighter. I don't want to beat other people. I want to become the best that I can be to help others become the best that they can be. So throughout my kickboxing career, I was pushing myself to face my fears and to compete in the ring so I could experience that for that short, immediate window of time, to then be able to focus on my passion, my why, my being a black belt, being a leader within the gym. And I am still a martial artist. I am still a kickboxing coach. It is a huge part of my personal life. And then it goes into my professional life too. But the business is around the professional speaking. The kickboxing is my hobby, my passion. It's very much for me, but it also is very impact driven in with those I work in within the local community and beyond. Who knows where it will go?
No, so no, that's just so fantastic. And for you to, sometimes when people retire from whatever they're doing, it's sort of, that knowledge, that passion, that inspire, it sort of retires with them. But for you to keep still with it and finding time to impact others and make a difference, especially the young people and the professionals you work with, the current leaders, it's so, it's just so wonderful. As I said, some people give up at retirement.
Yeah, no, I very much transferred the drive, the dedication, determination, and discipline.
Yes.
I know a lot of athletes struggle with retirement too.
Yes.
And I did a bit and I've had to work through it. But because it's a shift in identity and athletes are so driven, it's all consuming. It has to be your complete focus.
Yes, I know.
To be able to achieve that level. But I've put that into my speaking. So I've set my sights high, that kind of world champion global stages. But working my way up, creating strong foundations and always to be able to give back and create a powerful, positive impact too.
Yes, that's just fantastic. So, I mean, if you were to, look back, you just mentioned earlier on that you were not really a sporty person when you were school. Why do you think you do what you do today? Is it from your childhood, your background, or you had this aha moment later in your life?
That's an excellent question. Why do I think I do, and how did I get here now? And it's something.
Yes, I'm always intrigued about that. What makes people get to where they are today?
I'm intrigued by it too myself, because it does seem a bit bizarre. How did I get here? But I originally began kickboxing because I wanted to get a bit fit and I wanted to find something enjoyable. So I talk about finding something fun, enjoyable ways to exercise. Movement is essential, whatever our goals are. And most people don't necessarily want to be an athlete, but it is important that we prioritize our health, whatever it is we're choosing to pursue. So I was 19 and I was weak mentally and physically, and I knew that I needed to do something. And I didn't realize how powerful it would be and how much it would impact my confidence, my mental health, my self-esteem as well, because health really is fully integrated. It's wholehearted. It's not physical versus mental. So I had quite a tough upbringing. Both of my parents were drug addicts, alcoholics, and so I struggled. I do have many happy memories, and I do emphasize that addicts are not bad people. They are.
No,
they were struggling themselves, and they did the best they could. They always loved me. I've always loved them, but there were tough times, and kickboxing helped me as an adult overcome the struggles. So metaphorically, the struggles, setbacks, losses along the way, but also in reality, in the ring, well, in the training first, that first step into the gym was terrifying. I had to face that fear. Then I had to improve, compete, overcome the losses. And that led to where I am now, as a kind of becoming a champion was a catalyst for confidence. So I didn't plan to become a champion. It was me, and it was an evolution. And I'm so grateful that I had the right supportive environment, because I had a coach there to support me. I had my team around me. So now a lot of what I talk about is who inspires you and how can you become the best that you can be. So begin by identifying what it is you want to pursue, that big dream, and that first small step that you can take, but don't be afraid to seek support.
Yes. You can't do any of this without a team around you and without support. It's just crucial. It doesn't matter who you are. If you want to get on in life, you need to really support and a team around you, and people who complement you as well. What you're not so good at, finding someone in the team who's good at it. And it could be, simple things like someone who's good at admin to book your appointments and whatever. You might not be so good at it. You know what I mean? We need to all choose what our talents are. So to have a team with all these lovely talents is fantastic. And so it just it started from there, from wanting to build your own self-esteem and confidence, to being a champion and becoming this this becoming so all-consuming. I think it's almost like starting a business, isn't it? It's your life. It's your everything. It's so very, very consuming. There's no difference between you. Where does your life start and where does your professional bit start? It becomes all mixed up in one, isn't it?
Absolutely. Kickboxing was my everything. I was an amateur kickboxer, so I wasn't paid to do it. I worked family-run business around my training, but I lived to train. I lived for the time in the gym, but also everything around it, the recovery, the rest, and the everything that leads to that progression and that professional level performance, the nutrition and the optimizing routines, the healthy habits. And then it's the same in business.
I know. Same. So
we can always optimize, and it does become, it's everything. It's the whole package. It's our relationships, the people we're around, how we communicate. It all. That's what I love about business and communication and the speaking. It allows me to delve deeper into these topics, because I'm passionate about learning about them, but also helping others learn about them.
Relationships are so important. There's sort of really high. More and more I get into business that you can't do it without relationships. This really, what I call win-win relationships. It's no longer about just taking from people. You have to give something back.
Collaboration. I think people identify me as competitive, and I am competitive, but I'm competitive with myself. I want to be better than the version of myself that I was yesterday. I want to become the future version of myself. And I don't really care. I mean, I consider the people who are my competition, especially when you're fighting, your goal is to win. But in business, I think collaboration is essential. Collaboration is key. Collaboration is how we all thrive together. It's not there's not a scarcity of people who need our help. If we're
No.
especially as impact-driven entrepreneurs, there
Yeah.
is no limit. And the more we help each other, the more we thrive and the more everyone else benefits.
Yes, definitely. And you can't have some people thriving and some people not thriving. I don't know whether you read this book called Spirit Level. And this guy, I think he's some French professor, and he was saying that in a society or in a community, you can't have people, the gap between the have and whatever actually affects the people who have more in terms of their mental health, because they're busy worrying about those who don't have, and this pressure saying, oh, they're going to come and get it, because you're thinking from not from abundance. And I thought that was very interesting. I never thought about it before.
That's a really powerful, it's provoked something really powerful in me. And I've got a question for you actually regarding this podcast, because Impactful Billionaires, and I think a lot the gap for me, it's about how can I close that gap? How can I help others close the gap? But also for my own progression, how can I close that gap? Because I'm not a billionaire. So the best
but what I'm interviewing, some of the people I interview here, they're actually billionaires in financial terms. And some of the people like yourselves, they're impacting loads of people.
Yeah.
That's a take on the name of the podcast.
That's how I think understand that, but also in terms of metrics. So like champion success in sport, if a financial champion is a billionaire, the best person to learn from is somebody who's achieved it. So by communicating with, listening to billionaires in whatever version of billionaire that might be, whether it's financial status or health being our wealth or our network being our net worth. We need our relationships and our network, and then whatever finance means to us, similar to sporting success, whatever we're striving for, we can close the gap by asking for help.
Every child deserves a loving family, and that is why I founded Banya Fostering, an independent provider, in 1996. In the past 24 years, we have grown to become one of the largest agencies in the UK. We thrive to support carers and empower children, providing opportunities for brighter futures. Have you ever thought about supporting a child that needs it most? So far, we've helped more than 7,000 children in our care. You definitely can close the gap. You can't do, and I'm always saying you've got to ask for help. And the worst kind of thing that can happen is a no. People are so petrified. I think they're not going to kill you. And you'll be surprised. They'll say yes. And also sometimes when somebody says no, they're just meaning no today. So you might need to go back to them and say, what do I need to do? Or can I come back next year or next week? Or what can I do? What do I need to do? I mean, for me to turn this no into a yes. Some people are really devastated with no's. And for me, there's always an opportunity there. If they actually can be bothered, because some people don't say no to you, they just don't reply. So that's a bit difficult to deal with. But if they actually bother to reply, and some of them will actually give you a reason why they said no, and you should, although it's upsetting, I think you should read more into it and go back to them and just say, sometimes also some people give me a no, but they don't give me a feedback. So I'm always asking for feedback for me to develop. And you'll be very, very interested to find out why they say no. It's I can see it now.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I did a post about this today on LinkedIn about fear of failure. And I was growing up, I was terrified of failure, rejection.
Yeah, we all have it.
As I've progressed and I've begun to learn, and I talk about this a lot now, that there will be losses, there will be failures, but we need to never give up. And failure becomes feedback. So what you were saying about the no, it could be taken as a rejection. Oh, I'm not good enough.
We can go into one, can we? Also reasons why we just make it all up. It a very small no, and it can grow up into a mountain.
Yeah. And it's being aware that they have their own thing going on, and being respectful to their time and their boundaries, and their no is because of something that's going on in their mind, their life. So using this podcast as an example, we were going to meet in May, and I ended up saying no because I got ill.
You were sick, yes.
It wasn't because you did anything. It was because I needed to prioritize my health first.
Yes.
Now, yes, and I'm pleased to be here.
Yes. No, yes, it's part of life. But especially when you're starting up and your own self-confidence is not very good, and you already, hammering yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not perfect, and all this stuff, you already, messages we give ourselves. And when somebody says no, you just go into low down, isn't it? So it's just about picking yourself from there and carrying on. You literally get, but it all goes back to this, for me, the big why. And the big why is what gets us up in the morning. You know what I mean? And the big why overrides the no's, because you know why you're getting up. You know why you're asking that question or asking for whatever it is you're asking, which is getting all these no's. And as I said, and that's what I always go back to. Your big why is really the motivator, the driver. And if it's not big enough that it scares you, then you need to keep on going back, because that can easily demotivate you if it's not big enough. I don't know whether that's what you found in your own champion, or whatever it is you're doing, that you really need to have a big motivator.
Yeah, my motto is dream big, start small, never give up. It begins with that big dream. And I think what we were talking about with the no's and the overcoming that, especially when we begin, but throughout our journey, because if we're constantly expanding our comfort zone, if we're aiming for growth, if we're aiming to improve and progress, this is why I think it's important to have that environment and that team, and also the coach in our corner, to have a coach. And in sport, you have a sporting coach. You also might have a mental performance coach, helps with mindset and psychological success, and I might be called a life coach in business, and I'm not sure, it depends on who it is and how they help you, but having someone there to support you is essential.
It is essential in any environment, whatever you're doing. You need, for me, it's just so important to have that support. And I don't know, coaching is a very new term in the business world and the life, but within sports, it's always been there. The coaches have always been there, and so I don't know why that it's just come in as a new sector recently, because it's very. And most athletes I speak to, or I know, they wouldn't be able to do what they did do, whatever it was, or achieved, without their coach.
No, every champion.
So why can't we do it in our life? Why can't we have a life coach? Why can't we have a business coach?
And that's the key. That's the key, though, because every champion has a coach in their corner. And now we are learning, as business professionals, as entrepreneurs, as corporate athletes, whoever it might be, we are now realizing that we can benefit from having a coach in our corner. But I will add on that to do your due diligence, because with the rise of coaches and the demand, you have to find the right coach for you. And I always recommend that. How can you tell what makes a good coach? Well, check their credibility, check that they get results, and check that there's a synergy and an alignment between you, because you're going to be working very closely together.
I think the synergy is just so crucial. You can't be working in any relationship with your synergy, your values, that you're all on the same wavelength. The minute you're across purpose, it won't work. And they're focusing on different things. which might not even be not important to you, because they haven't really bought into your own values. Especially if you want to make a difference to other people, they have got to be within their own lives wanting to make a difference as well, not just coaching me, you know what I mean, or mentoring me. That is really important. I've been very aware of this issue of people not checking, but it also happens in business life and relationship life. I was talking to somebody recently about how people start relationships without really discussing what each other's values are. And in my work with couples, I've always found out that the reason why the relationships break down is that there wasn't synergy. There wasn't, they were not on the same wavelength in terms of values. And it starts off with romance and whatever. Before you know, they're married or they're living together. And as they go along, it becomes all the things that are going to change the other person, or they don't mind it. But later on, it actually starts nagging them. It becomes a resentment. Before you know it, the relationship ends. Because this whole thing has not been sorted out at the beginning.
Yeah, but we're not taught that. Like, we don't learn that at school. And it takes somebody to educate us on the importance of communication, of being aware of our own values first.
Yes.
So we know who we are and what we're working towards.
Yes, that's right.
In life.
Yeah.
So we create the relationships around it.
Yes, definitely. I definitely agree with that. So, I mean, if we're just coming to the end now about, the listeners who are listening, who could be listening today, and they're thinking, oh, my confidence is a bit low and my self-esteem is low. How can I, start this journey of ending up, of making a difference and making a huge impact? What will be the 3 top tips you would think somebody just thinking, oh God, where do I start? What will be sort of the first 3 tips that they should be thinking about in their local community or wanting to make a difference, and just thinking, God, where do I get the energy, you know what I mean? I'm not very confident in doing this. And who do I think I am anyway to think I can make a difference to people's life?
I think we've discussed it just now, but being in the right environment and not being afraid to ask for help. So to follow people who are further ahead, whether that be on social media, the podcasts you listen to. They're listening to this podcast, so they're influenced by you and what you're doing, and me because they're listening to me. And so if they want to reach out to me and connect,
definitely.
And so I'm creating a strong network of who inspire me, and I would recommend that they do that, whether that be athletes, artists, entrepreneurs.
It doesn't matter.
It's being and diversity as well, that diverse circle of success, but closely guarding your time and energy. And you are the top 5 people that you spend your time around, you will become like. So if you're around negativity and people bringing you down, questioning your choices, how can you change your social circle? How can you change your environment? That would be my top one. My second one would be similar, but having that coach. So being in the right environment, the team, then the coach. So having a mentor, the person who knows you intimately, who can help you professionally. So as I was progressing in kickboxing, I had a kickboxing coach. As I was progressing in speaking, I reached out to a former Olympic swimmer, Chris Cook, and I asked him specifically for advice. Can you help me improve my professional speaking? And he made connections for me. He helped me craft my story. So the number 1 and 2, have the right environment and greater support network, then have that specific coach in your corner, because they will help you believe in yourself when you're.
That's what they're supposed to do, that you can do this.
the third way to increase confidence comes through action. I talk about imposter syndrome, and before we do something, if we've never done it before, technically, when I first stepped in the ring, I wasn't a kickboxing fighter. I wasn't a kickboxing champion. I had to become a contender. I had the coach, I had the team, I had the support. I had to believe in myself. When I first stepped on stage, I didn't know how the audience was going to react. I wasn't confident. I was ready. So you will have to take that step to become confident. And then the motto that sums up everything on how to get there, how to become the champion at what you choose: dream big, start small, never give up. It's all about the action that you take to become that champion. And incorporated in it all, we do have to prioritize our health as a bonus.
Yes.
Without our health, we can't do anything.
Without our health, we've got nothing, absolutely nothing. That's just so important, to keep yourself well, so that you can, and this is physically and mentally as well. In terms of health, that's just so important. So we need to always remind ourselves of that, because in the middle of this busyness, we can forget ourselves, don't we, as human beings with the health needs. It's very easy,
especially if we're so focused on impact and serving others.
Give.
Like you can't pour from an empty cup. But it's like you have to become the champion first. You have to be the best that you can be, and overcome any thoughts about it might be being selfish. But if you can't be your best, how can others be their best?
Yes, it's sort of, our parents and teachers also, don't be selfish. To think about it was sort of drummed in our heads, isn't it, about not being selfish. And that's really difficult. And as women as well, I find that we just always not prioritize ourselves. And
we more naturally are nurturing.
Yes, naturally we are like that. Yes. But we need to nurture ourselves as well. We mustn't forget ourselves. Oh, that is really fantastic. I've really enjoyed having our conversation. Thank you again for your time and coming on. And I'm really glad you're much better. And, I always say things happen for a reason.